J Houshmandzadeh shares bleak implication on Colorado Buffaloes football legend Shedeur Sanders against guys that are going to get released. Colorado Buffaloes football legend Shedeur Sanders reportedly impressive performance at the Cleveland Browns OTAs didn't impress J Houshmandzadeh. Houshmandzadeh was skeptical of Sanders' competition in practice, pondering if the grown only put up such gaudy stats because he was playing against fourth and fifth string players who were going to be released. When you get the reports that Shedeur completing 7 out of 9 passes, is it against starters? Houshmandzadeh said on the Nightcap podcast, or is it against the 3s and the 4s, the guys that are going to get released? So it seems impressive when you see the graphic, but is it really? If it's not against the starters or guys that are going to be on the team, the implication isn't great for Sanders. If he's playing against fourth and fifth stringers who can be released, what kind of company is he as the fourth quarterback on the depth chart? Sanders was deemed a cut candidate just days after his draft slide to the 5th round in April. Sanders landed in a place where he's no sure thing to even make the roster, given that he'll likely open training camp 4th on the depth behind Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dylan Gabriel. But he says he's also on the roster but currently rehabbing an Achilles injury. But he says he's willing to do whatever it takes to earn a roster spot. Pro Football Talks Michael Davis wrote, Sanders has previously been deemed safe, but things could change. His recent off-field on-road incidents probably don't help his cause. When J Houshmandzadeh, former NFL wide receiver known for his precise route running and no-nonsense analysis, made his pointed remark about Shedeur Sanders against guys that are going to get released, the football world paused for a moment. It wasn't just a critique, it was a loaded observation, a spark that lit debates across sports shows, podcasts, and locker rooms. At the heart of his comment lay a deeper, more nuanced implication about the state of college football, star power, and the fine line between hype and readiness. Shedeur Sanders, son of Hall of Famer Deion Primetime Sanders and starting quarterback for the Colorado Buffaloes, has been at the center of attention since his arrival in Boulder. Flashy stats, commanding leadership, and a high-profile father turned his every play into a headline. But for all the pageantry and publicity, Houshmandzadeh's statement raised a chilling question. How much of Sanders' brilliance is inflated by inferior competition? Let's rewind. In 2023, the Buffaloes opened their season with stunning wins, and Shedeur threw for hundreds of yards against Power 5 teams. But as the season progressed, cracks emerged. The offensive line struggled. Pass protection broke down. Sanders took sack after sack. The team faltered, ending with a losing record despite early promise. Critics became louder, and TJ's comment, delivered during a segment on young NFL prospects, stung not just because of what he said, but because of what he implied. Against guys that are going to get released, it wasn't simply about stats, it was about context. Houshmandzadeh was highlighting a brutal truth in football. Dominance at the collegiate level doesn't always translate to the pros, especially when your highlight reel is built on second-string defenders and walk-ons. There's a canyon between college stardom and NFL readiness, and Shedeur, brilliant as he may be, hasn't crossed it yet. But this is not a condemnation. In fact, it's a challenge. Every legend has a moment when the narrative flips from praise to pressure. For Shedeur, this could be that moment. The pivot from the next great Sanders to can he actually do it against NFL talent? And it's not an unfair question. Many quarterbacks post dazzling stats in college. The real test is whether those numbers hold up under duress. Against 280-pound linemen who run 4.5-second 40s. Against cornerbacks who don't fall for pump fakes. Against blitz packages designed by sadistic coordinators with nothing but time and tape. The implications of Houshmandzadeh's comment ripple outward. What does it say about the evaluation of talent in today's college landscape, where NIL deals and social media followings can obscure true football grit? What does it say about Coach Prime's rebuild of Colorado, an experiment blending culture, charisma, and confidence in a sport still dictated by trenches and time of possession? To dismiss Shedeur based on that one critique would be foolish. He has touch, poise, a high football IQ, and leadership qualities rarely found in players his age. But potential isn't destiny. What Houshmandzadeh offered wasn't slander. It was a dose of the reality check every rising athlete eventually faces. You can't just be better than the guys in front of you. You have to be better than who they'll replace you with. And here lies the crossroads. If Shedeur takes that challenge personally, as great players often do, we might look back on TJ's quote as the ignition point, the moment Sanders stopped being a story and started becoming a force. And because what's more compelling than a young man being doubted? We've seen this movie before, a star born in the spotlight, facing scrutiny, and choosing to sharpen his game rather than shy away from it. Think of Lamar Jackson, initially criticized for his mechanics, now an MVP. Think of Jalen Hurts, benched in a national title game, only to lead a Super Bowl run. The leap to the NFL is never linear. It's forged in friction. J Houshmandzadeh, in essence, didn't throw shade, he threw down the gauntlet. And in the silence that follows such a declaration, Shedeur Sanders has a decision to make. Will he let that echo haunt him, or will he let it fuel him?